and welcome. You're watching Breaking Views, the only show where we get you all the views so that you get the complete picture. I'm Sadda Punjab. Now we are all proud as Indians of India's presidency of the G20, where we are preparing, giving our ambitions, our dreams as a country, an international voice, to be exerting and exacting at the same time at an international scale, making the world cognizant of our dreams and our expectations. While all of that is undeniably a very good exercise and a matter of great pride, as I said, take a look at a few pictures. See, the objective of any exercise is to benefit the last person in the line in a country, the mission of Antyodaya. But when you use curtains to hide those people who are in that last row, then what exactly are we doing? I mean, are we really achieving the purpose for which we are carrying out this exercise? And this is not just in Mumbai, and not just a phenomenon restricted to just one government or a certain government. All governments or any infrastructure or any institution which tries to carry out a function and tries to show the grandness or grandeur, tries to hide what it feels is the uncomfortable truth. So in this case, are we really succeeding in that mission of connecting our dreams and ambitions of 1.4 billion plus with the people, actual people, in this exercise of G20? Can this curtain really help draw this parallel or to make it extremely apparent that on one side we have our ambitions, so on the other hand you must not show this uncomfortable reality? Should the mission not be to make sure that this very uncomfortable reality changes thanks to exercises like the G20, where we benefit the last person in the line? Mumbai slums covered behind curtains. So as far as the G20 is concerned, what really is in it for the people of India? That's the question that we are asking. And we will also be asking this question of the Sherpa of G20, Mr. Amitabh Kant, and a couple of other questions related to this massive exercise. Remember, it's an amazing feat where India is going to reflect its opinion, its ideas at a national level and exert itself. So it's very important to also ask this question: what's in it for the people, or people who are at the end of the line, Antyodaya, as I repeat all over again. Let's quickly listen in to some responses that came in from this Mumbai slum, which was covered up, G20 posters put up and curtains put up so that when cars and vehicles pass of the delegates, they don't get to see this uncomfortable reality.
पहले तो मालूम नहीं पड़ा कि पर्दे क्यों लगाए जा रहे हैं. पहले तो साफ सफाई हो रही थी यहाँ पे. हाँ, पहले साफ सफाई हुई, फिर पूरे पर्दे के सामान सब लेके आके रखे. कुछ आइडिया नहीं था. ये दूसरे दिन जब सुबह में हम लोग देखे ना तो पर्दे लग चुके थे. तो ये रात में लगा कर गए? हाँ, रात में लगा के गए. तो कुछ लोगों से ऐसा पता चला है कि कुछ बाहर से कुछ लोग आने वाले हैं. हाँ, तो उन्हीं की वजह से ये लगाया जा रहा है.
आप लोगों ने पूछा था कि क्यों सफाई कर रहे हैं?
बोली मैं तो बोले कोई ये अधिकारी कुछ आ रहे हैं रोड देखने के लिए, उसके बारे में सफाई हो रही है. यहाँ तक कि बोरीवली तक है और इससे अंदर के लिए नहीं है.
ये मोदी सरकार के.
इसके पहले साफ सफाई इतनी हुई है?
नहीं.
आप कितने सालों से हैं आंटी यहाँ पे?
नहीं तो कम से कम 50 साल हो गए.
50 साल से. आप तो इतनी साफ सफाई ऐसे हुई है यहाँ पे?
कभी
मतलब गरीब लोग को देखने का नहीं, वो विदेशी लोग आ रहे हैं तो उसके लिए सफाई होना जरूरी है. मुंबई में जो बिना रोजगार है उन लोग के लिए वो लोग का वो बंदोबस्त नहीं है कि बेचारे जो परेशान है, जो काम धंधे पे नहीं है, जो लॉकडाउन की वजह से जिसका काम छूटा उसके लिए कुछ नहीं है. मतलब ये बराबर है.
So the idea is that the uncomfortable reality must not exist, but the solution cannot be to put a curtain on your troubles, because this is what we need to address. We need to fix this. Can a curtain fix our problem of realizing our G20 potential? Krishna Hegde, Shiv Sena spokesperson for the Shinde camp, Gargi Nandi Roy is a BJP supporter, and Raju Wagmare is the spokesperson and the General Secretary of Maharashtra Congress. Thank you very much. Let me first start by asking you, Gargi Nandi Roy, how does this work? How do you realize the
I think this is not happening for the first
by putting
time.
up a curtain?
Yeah, I'll come. Firstly, thank you for inviting me, Sanket.
My pleasure.
And this is not happening for the first time. May I remind you, during the Commonwealth Games, there was screens erected with bamboo poles, which bamboos were specially brought from Northeast by the Sheila Dikshit government. The Kabariwala near Ranjit Bridge was hidden before
Which was a horrible thing to do.
So it was a horrible thing to do, but the thing is, see, this slums and all, they're a problem, and in BMC officials don't work, they're gone on overdrive. We are liking to see the clean roads, they should always work, but this slums and all is our problem. Our MLAs, our corporators, our leaders must address. That's true. But also, do we really need to show this to the dignitaries? We don't need to show this. See, when people come to our house and guests, and they're
I agree, you know, whenever we have debated this in the past also.
So I think yes, our leaders, our MLAs, our people have to address.
Whenever we have had this discussion in the past also, the point that is being given, you don't keep your house dirty. So if there is a beautification drive, one can understand. You see, this is not just a beautification drive. Cleaning of the roads, understandable. Cleaning up of pavements, construction of new pavements, all of this, understandable. Building a wall to hide slums, putting a curtain on the slums, and perhaps giving oneself a sense of belief that this is a problem which must not be seen. You see, if it will not be seen, it will not be...
We need to address, Sanket, my point is that we need to address the problem. Our leaders, our corporators, we will understand. We do not need to show it to the world. And let me tell you, in Delhi also during Commonwealth, there was an overdrive of either makeover or cover up, where they could do a makeover.
You're talking about Delhi, it's a fair example. But if we start giving examples, then here are pictures of Ahmedabad also. When Donald Trump visited,
and let me tell you, Delhi had taken a lead from China
and a curtain. But let's quickly go back to the pictures of Mumbai.
From China in Beijing also. In Beijing also, China had erected screens. So
I'm not sure we should pick up the worst of examples from the world. If China is doing, I don't think that is any consolation.
Yes, the slums should be rehabilitated. This problem has to be addressed, but this has to be addressed by our leaders.
And Sadda Punjab of the Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray camp is also with us. Mr. Hegde, I want to ask you. You see, the fact that these slums exist and they have not been addressed or is a work in progress is a failing at a domestic level, right? We have not been able to plan in our cities. It is not peculiar to India alone also. I am ready to admit this also. You have got slums in the United States also. I mean, there are streets in Los Angeles that look a lot worse than, Mumbai. But the point is to hide an uncomfortable truth and to expect that a problem has been solved. Is that the correct approach?
Sanket, we are not running away from any problem nor are we hiding anything. What has happened here in the last 30 years, the BMC is under the rule of the Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray ji faction. And you see the mess, you yourself are saying it is a mess. And now, when this is a world-class event happening here, and for the first time our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is the President of the G20 Summit. And today India is recognized as a superpower and the entire world is listening to Prime Minister Modi ji. We are hosting 20 of the top nations of the world today, and it is a matter of big pride for us. If you see that in 25 crores, the way we have spruced up the city, cleaned up the city, filled the potholes, beautified the city, laser lights going on everywhere, lighting everywhere, the entire city is looking beautiful from Daisar to Churchgate to Nariman Point, and it is a matter of great pride for Mumbaikars. The same thing when the earlier Shiv Sena Uddhavji was heading the BMC, we see that 2,500 crores were just used to fill the potholes 4 times a year and nothing was done. But today in 25 crores, the kind of spruce up we have done is unimaginable. I think it is really world class. Instead of criticizing this and going into a third world mentality that we were.
One moment, I'll come to you.
In their tenure.
Sajid
We should
Supariwala, how do you
appreciate
respond?
The good work. We should appreciate the good work done by
Do you
the
think-
administration.
Do you
whether it is the
think
chief
only now
minister,
that only now?
So by the way, just to put things in perspective, G20
Yeah.
presidency, India's impact, all of that does, this act itself does not take away the grand scale of the G20 operations and what we want to do as a country at an international level. The point is our very parochial and narrow approach towards solving day-to-day issues. Because if a G20 exercise is to empower India, I believe by extension it should empower Indians as well. I don't think a curtain empowers Indians. Mr. Supariwala.
Yeah, the thing is that Mr. Hegde just said that the earlier Shiv Sena did not do anything and earlier government did not do anything. Let me tell you that you should go and take a proper survey of what the BMC ruled by the Shiv Sena has done till date, and you will find a lot of differences. With Aditya Sahib Thackeray had become the MLA of Worli as well. After that, you should see the beautification of Worli to Hajeri, and it was going on and on, extending towards the beautiful parts of our beautiful city. Now you are just trying to cover up the slums. The BJP government has always been doing this. The Gujarat model was also done when those photos had come. Now this guy, this G20 summit is coming up. Now just to show and cover up the slums. What do you mean by doing that? Why are you just covering up the slums? Why not show the reality of Mumbai? What is it? You should show the good and the bad both. Now they are covering with these people have suddenly been covered up with the white sheets and all that. And now you remember of the beautification. Why? Only now when the G20...
No, one more. I think we should be very clear about certain things. We should be very clear about certain things, Mr. Raju Wagmare. Beautification is not a bad exercise. Making your cities look pretty is not a bad exercise. Keeping your city clean is not a bad exercise. Welcoming people by putting your best foot forward is not a bad exercise. But trying to cover up and then forgetting about the problems. Many slum dwellers here said that they've spent almost half a century in these parts and nothing has changed. This is a failing of successive governments. So a curtain alone cannot empower us.
See, actually, Sanket, everybody must think about this. This is the irony actually. Why the G20 is there? Maybe our Honorable Prime Minister has forgot that why G20 is here and why he has become a president of G20. G20 is here for developing countries to deal with their problem of food, fuel, fertilizer and make sure the development will be sustainable in this country. Now, the whole world knows that in Mumbai we have the third largest slum, that is Dharavi. The whole world knows that the population and the density of the Mumbai comes to around third or fourth number in a world cities. So when we are developed or we are in a reality of what we are, and the G20 came for that to help the developing country, then you can hide the poor, but you cannot hide the poverty. That is the problem. And that problem has been forgotten by our Honorable Prime Minister. He forgot. And that is his model. That is the BJP's model. And that model is, you don't look, you feel better. And that's why he did it when the Prime Minister of US came, when the President of
Okay, I'm going to have to end it here. But see, point is, beautification of our city, good exercise. Making us look nice and presentable in front of guests, again a fantastic exercise.
Sanket, beautification,
India, showcasing India to the world,
we are
again our opinion, again fantastic exercise. Hiding things behind the carpet or pushing them behind a curtain, I don't think
that is the problem.
I tend to disagree with you, Sanket.
Okay, I'm gonna have to end it right here. Thank you very much to all our panelists for joining us. All right, joining us right now is the G20 Sherpa, Mr. Amitabh Kant. Thank you very much for your time, sir. This is India's big showcase event. Presidency is an attempt to influence India's view in the world. But I want to start by asking you, Mr. Kant, a more basic and fundamental question. You see, the government talks about Antyodaya. G20, India's positioning, India's, exacting might at a global stage, and its benefit for the last man in the queue. How do you look at these two things? What do Indians get out of
this?
this?
Opportunity. No, this is a huge opportunity to take G20 to the citizens of India. This is an opportunity to actually take it to all the 215 events to 56 cities of India, transform the city infrastructure of India. This is a huge opportunity for the states to carry out vast reforms, to bring in investments into the states. This is a huge opportunity to push for travel and tourism of India by promoting your culture, your traditional folk and art forms. This is a massive opportunity for India to really push for the traditional cuisines of India in different states, to make India a state for non-water producing crops like millets. This is a massive opportunity to make a shift in agriculture, and this is an opportunity for all the states and all the union territories of India to make themselves into great travel and tourism global brands across the world. Eventually states will grow out of this. This is a unique model of cooperative federalism where every citizen of the state will benefit out of this.
Would you like to elaborate a little, Mr. Kant, on how this will be achieved? Because I see great coordination between the central government and the states.
We did this. Yeah, we did this event. The first Sherpa meeting was done in Udaipur, where the Rajasthan government worked in partnership with us. It was remarkable work in terms of doing up the roads, cleaning up the Fatehpur lake, transforming every single wall of that city, greening up that city, promoting it as a great cultural destination, as a great culinary destination. Every citizen benefited out of that. The citizens of Udaipur said that they've never seen Udaipur so neat, clean and tidy. Same thing, we did this in Mumbai last 4 days back. Mumbai as a city was transformed. All potholes were changed, all roads were done up. So I think it is going to have an impact on every single city where G20 will be held. Now don't expect G20 to transform every single aspect, but where the events would be held, I think they will be transformational. We are looking at it much beyond G20 itself. We are looking at G20 as a vehicle for transforming urbanization, for promoting travel and tourism, for pushing India as a great Indian states as great brands.
Yeah. I mean that was my question. I realized that there may not be any direct impact, but a larger impact. That point I get. But Mr. Kant, would you like to tell us about the idea as a country on what we are focusing on? We know for a fact that this is happening in the backdrop of a financial crisis. Where does India see itself? What do we wish to propose to the world?
No, there are several challenges before the world. There's a looming crisis of global slowdown. There's inflation in several parts of the world. This is the post-COVID era. Vast segments of people have gone below poverty line. Several people have lost their jobs. There is a challenge of climate action. There's a challenge of global debt across the world. But every challenge is an opportunity. And I think G20 at this point of time gives a huge opportunity to India to set an agenda for the world in terms of very inclusive, resilient, sustainable growth. It gives an agenda of pushing for education and health to push sustainable development goals. It gives India an opportunity to establish digital transformation and using its own digital public infrastructure as a unique model. It also gives India an opportunity to say that this is an opportunity for women-led development, which Prime Minister has focused on. And since the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana came in, our accounts for women have moved up from 19% to 56%. So vast amount of development that has happened in India's infrastructure sector, road, electricity, sanitation, sanitation, water, all these are unique models which we can talk about. There's an India narrative on several of these issues. But I think on the global issue, this is an opportunity for India to really push for being the voice of the global South. There are challenges of 70 countries facing debt crisis. This is an opportunity for us to speak their voice.
Let me elaborate on that, because
these are the challenges before the world.
That was meant to be my next question. You see, India wants to champion the cause of the global South, as you call it, and for the benefit of our viewers who do not know, basically the developing world. Now we know that climate financing is a huge challenge. I mean, the West, holding the West accountable for the cost of their development and the pollution it caused and paying up for it has been a position of India. How will you work at this contradiction where the topmost powers are yet to commit to something like this?
No, so this. If you look at the total space available for the carbon space available at 1.5 degree, it's 2,400 gigatons. I think about almost 85% of that is occupied by developed world. And therefore, in the interest of just climate change, in 2009 at Copenhagen, it was agreed that the developed world will provide about $100 billion per year to the developing countries. But I think it's not about $100 billion. Vast amounts have to be provided for to enable many developing countries, including India, to accelerate the pace of transition. And I think this needs to be done through two methods. One is, of course, the support which many developed world, which are responsible for carbonizing the world, have to do. But the other is also about transforming multilateral financial institutions, which are today do direct lending, to become institutions for climate change and for SDG, so that they do much more blended finance, they do much more credit enhancement, they do much more first loss guarantees. But in the long run, you will also have vast pools of funds available with the private sector and institutional finance which should flow in, and that would require us to build a methodology where we are able to track and monitor every single carbonization, and we are able to then do credit rating of every single company and every single country around the world, so that funding flows only to those who are decarbonizing the world, and that is important in the long run.
My final question, Mr. Kant, how would India cut through G20's own internal conflicts as far as Ukraine is concerned? We know that every country, particularly the West, has an opinion. India has its own opinion and idea and position on where we stand as far as this conflict is concerned. How are we going to manage these contradictions?
So I think if any country is capable of doing that, it's India. India has a very good relationship with the Western world. It has a good relationship with Russia as well. We demonstrated this in Bali, where meetings through the year had not worked, but we were able to, in the Sherpa track, in the final Sherpa track, work with the developing countries, work with countries like Brazil. We worked with South Africa, we worked with Mexico, we worked with Saudi, we worked with many countries together to bring both the G7 and Russia along and arrive at a very balanced and a very progressive and a forward-looking agreement, which was later accepted by the leaders. But as the Prime Minister has said, that our presidency will be decisive, it will be inclusive, it will be action-oriented, and we look forward to being as decisive and action-oriented, looking at the very many crises facing the world as feasible.
All right, Mr. Kant, thank you very much for your time, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.